Okay, so some quick housekeeping as we wait for everyone to kind of log into the meeting. So the session will be open, so from 9 to 1 p.m. I know it is a long day. We do have breaks planned, but it's a lot of great information. So if you need to step out, you can come back in. It's the same room, so we're not going to be doing any breakout sessions or anything like that. And the session will be recorded the entire time. So, and what I'll do is I'll break it out so that the recording, when we shared it, won't be one long 4-hour recording. We'll break it up into the specific sessions. So that way, if you do end up missing a session, you can watch the recording or share it with anyone else that's not able to be here today. Okay, so it's 9:02. I think this is a great time to go on ahead and get started. So I would like to welcome Dr. Diane Ryan, our Vice President of Academic Affairs at Yavapai College, to welcome us. And she has been a huge driver for OER here at Yavapai and for this consortium. So I'll pass it off to her.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And as Megan, I just want to echo what Megan said. This is huge for Arizona, and I really appreciate your participation and your support of this open textbook grant for rural Arizona. And I just see great things coming out of this as we work through this grant over the next 3 years. You've got a tremendous leader in Megan. She's very innovative, very up to date on technology, and so easy to work with. So I think we're in good shape. I just want to say a couple opening remarks. I know there's been movements towards open education since the 1970s, but really OER was termed as a phrase at a UNESCO conference in 2002. So I consider this the 20-year anniversary of OER. One of the founding fathers that brought OER here to the United States is David Wiley. David was instrumental in starting to spread the word about OER. I learned about OER in Virginia in 2012 when David Riley came to speak at a conference for the Virginia Community College system. And at that time, I worked for a chief academic officer, vice president of academics, who caught David's vision and wanted to be the first college in the United States to launch a completely OER degree. I was fortunate enough to be chosen on that team as a faculty member. And that's really what launched my passion for it, because I was tired of a textbook that I had used for many years, continually the content hadn't changed at all, but the pictures and the graphs were, and it would continually go up in price every 2 years. And I didn't know anything really about OER. I just was frustrated with textbooks. However, once I started studying it and learning about open pedagogy, I totally bought into that our knowledge should be open and accessible to all, because together, as we build a stronger world, a stronger society in our communities, our society and our world, and we can only do that through access to education. So the OER movement has grown significantly. It includes all sorts of people in higher ed, and that's one of the things that I love about it. Faculty, librarians, instructional designers, catalogers, registrars. So without all these people, this type of access to education would not be available. Most importantly, I'm going to tell you this, is you have to have administrative support for OER. If there's not an administrator at your institution that supports OER, it's really tough to get off the ground. So I would encourage you, as people retire and new people come in, whether they be vice presidents or presidents, that you look for someone who is at least familiar or open to continuing an OER program at your institution. And the reason for this is important. An OER program at your institution is not totally free to you, the college, you know, as you promote this. Before we were part of the open textbook initiative for rural Arizona, we have a president here who understood the value of OER and what a difference it makes to our students. So I had some seed money to get started. So it's important that you have that kind of administration support, because faculty stipends, incentives for people to get involved in OER are essential until the movement totally catches on. But I do want to tell you today that it does have a significant impact. I could tell you stories all day long about our students who have written comments on our surveys every semester when we survey them after they've taken an OER class, and what a difference it makes in their everyday lives. We have had a formalized OER program here now for almost 4 semesters. We submitted it for our HLC Quality Initiative, which we're writing up in May. And our preliminary research shows us that students who take 2 or more OER classes in a semester end up taking more credit hours that semester. So that goes to show us it corresponds with our qualitative data, where students have said one of the top 5 reasons, or when we ask them, what do you do with the money that you save from not having to purchase the textbook? Food, medicine, and gas are the top 3, but in the top 5, they'll say, I use the extra money to pay for tuition for another class. So we're super excited about these results. So enjoy the webinar today. I look forward. I'll be in and out during the whole day. I look forward to going back and seeing all the presentations. But most of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting this phenomenal effort.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ryan. Always inspiring to hear your story and how we've gotten to where we are today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the agenda really quick, just so people see what's going on today, and then we will go from there. Let me see, share. Okay, so today we have our welcome, which we just heard from Dr. Ryan. We will do a grant overview. So I'll provide a grant overview for those that have been in our consortium meetings. This might not be new for you, but thank you for being here. But I do want to make sure everyone kind of understands where we're at with the grant and just the big picture of it. We will have Cheryl Casey, who will be doing a presentation on getting started with OER. We'll have a short break. We have a fabulous faculty panel here from all of our different colleges, sharing their stories, you know, what has worked, what has been challenging. So that will be really good. And then in the afternoon, we will have Megan Simmons here to do a training on our OER Commons Hub. So our hub is up and running, it's ready to go. And so we're going to be offering, this will be the first of 4 90-minute trainings that we will be getting with OER Commons and how to use the tool. So that's kind of how the day will look. I hope everyone can stay for as much as they can, but like I said, we will be recording and sharing those out as well. Okay, I'm going to go on ahead and share my screen again. So we're going to do a quick overview, about 15-20 minutes of the grant. But first, I would like to do a quick check-in. You know, it's always the end of the semester, so and do some quick introductions. So if you can write your name, institution in the chat, and how you're feeling today. We did this with the grant meeting our last grant meeting, and it's always good to kind of do a quick check-in. How are you feeling today? So if you want to go on ahead and put the number in the chat, that would be great. I am feeling like an 8, which is different than our last meeting, because last meeting I was doing some crazy events last week, and it was very, very busy. So I'm excited that those went well and excited to be here. Okay, fantastic. So go on ahead, keep using the chat, keep communicating, and we'll go on ahead and get started with our overview of the grant. So for those of you who don't know me, I know there's some new faces here. My name is Megan Crossfield. I'm the manager of academic initiatives and special projects at Yavapai College, and one of my main projects that I'm working on is this consortium and managing this grant. And I come with a lot of experience working in higher education, but specifically with grants and consortium management. So very excited to be here and to lead us through this effort of expanding OER across Arizona, and specifically in the rural areas. So the grant is a consortium of 7 colleges. And it was specifically written for rural Arizona community colleges because there's different student populations that we're serving. And so having OER developed specifically for those students is great, and being able to share them across the consortium. It is a 3-year grant. It started September 1st of 2021. So we're about 2/3 of the way through our first year, and we've made some amazing progress. And the allocation is just over $800,000 for the 3 years split between our 7 community colleges. And so why do consortium work? Working in a consortium, there's a lot of work that is involved in it, but there's huge benefits. It's cost effective, so we're able to make group purchases, such as the OER Commons Hub that we have purchased and we're creating for our consortium. We're able to increase the ability through collaboration. So we're able to collaborate amongst the colleges. We're looking at increasing our shareability. So all the courses that are being developed for this grant, or even courses not developed for this grant, will be able to be shared on our hub. So we'll be able to really share between our different consortiums, our different colleges, and also the collaboration for building those courses. So being able to work together between different institutions. So if you have 2 different chemistry professors from different institutions, we can have that collaboration happening to help build more courses. And then just the increasing of sharing of resources. It encourages more sharing of resources, and we're going to have a platform to really share out. So our main objectives for this grant are increased student cost savings, increasing that collaboration, which is huge within a consortium, being able to collaborate among the different colleges with your subject matter expertise here. So faculty being able to collaborate with other faculty from different institutions to build course material is huge. And then increasing access to OER materials. So that's going to be through our OER Commons Hub, which we're going to talk about later this afternoon and get our first training on how to use that tool and how it will really increase that access and being able to share out our materials. And then increasing knowledge of OER and open pedagogy through professional development. So this is our first annual consortium-wide professional development. We're going to see how this goes. Per the grant requirements, we are doing 1 a year, but if this is beneficial for everyone, we can, increase that number of times we offer these types of professional development. And then, like I said, for the hub specifically, we will be offering 4 separate trainings, and today's will be the first of that 4. So I wanted to share with you 2 of our websites that we use for our consortium. The first is our public-facing website. I'm going to go on ahead and drop the link in the chat so everyone can get access to it. And so this is just our public-facing website. This is open to anyone to, learn more about what we're doing. Because we're about 2/3 into the first year of our project, we're still building a lot of the foundational efforts. So this website will grow as our project grows. But it is a great resource to really learn, the foundation of where we're at and what we're doing so far, and we can educate others about our project. So that's really the intention of this website, is to educate the public about what we're doing. So on here, you'll find a homepage. We have why OER, our organization. So that talks about, kind of our foundation, how we came about into our consortium work, our objectives, which we talked about just a little bit ago, but this goes into a little bit more detail. And then we also have our different work groups. So part of the consortium work that we're doing, we have 3 different work groups. We have our librarian work group, our instructional designer work group, and our lead faculty work group. And they have been doing amazing work, collaborating, building, and really looking at the foundation of this project. So the librarians have been instrumental in curating and organizing our OER Commons Hub, and then we'll also be leading and administrating the groups within that hub. The instructional designers have been crucial in understanding and developing consortium-wide OER standards. So each of our institution either has or has not developed OER standards. And so the instructional designers have been looking at all of those, looking at what are the grant requirements and creating those standards for us. And then the lead faculty work group has been, very important in offering the faculty perspective for this project. And then we have our toolbox. So this is going to be developed more. We're going to have a direct link to our OER Commons Hub. We have our LibGuide through Yavapai College. And this, we're going to start transitioning a lot of things into our hub, depending on how we end up using it. And then we have a link to an OER training course through Yavapai College as well. So these are some toolbox and resources that we have right now. But like I said, as this project grows, we're going to continue to grow. And then we have our partners. So this is a way to show all the different partners we have, and then a map of what we're covering. And I love this image because it really does showcase how much we're impacting the state of Arizona. We have a huge impact that we're making by collaborating with our 7 colleges here. So please feel free to use this website as a resource. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Another website that we have developed is our internal partner website. And this one is mainly for our, consortium partners that come to the meetings every month, more of the administrative side of things, but it is a website for forms, documents, templates, anything that is more administrative for the grant. So if you do have questions about any processes, procedures related to the grant, you can reach out to your main contact at your institution regarding that website and taking a look at it. But really it's not intended for the general public. It's mainly for our the lead people at each of our institutions. So the next thing I wanted to share, and we will go into much more detail this afternoon, is our walkthrough of our OER Commons Hub. And so this is just a quick overview of what our hub looks like right now, and where we're at with it. And I'll go on ahead and drop this link in the chat as well. But like I said, we'll get much more information about this this afternoon. So this is our hub. And so as you see, we have, and the way that they explain the OER Commons Hub is OER Commons is a giant library with all these OER resources, courses, lab books, just any type of material. And the hub is our specific wing of that library. And so this wing is dedicated to our consortium. So the materials that will be located here will be very specific to our consortium and the work that we're doing. And so here you'll see we have different areas within the hub. We have our main information. We have our collections, and this is where we're going to host all of our final materials that are developed. So the way an analogy would be, these are the resources, these are the books that are on the shelf within our wing. These are the final materials that are available. And so we already have resources here in our hub. So if we click on our collection for social sciences, we already have resources that have been shared. As Dr. Ryan mentioned, Yavapai College is in year 3 of our OER program. And so a lot of the resources that are being shared right now are from Yavapai College, but this will change as all of your institutions are building and developing the material. And so here you see we have a lot of early childhood and education classes that have been shared. We have introduction to psychology that have been shared. And so these are all accessible to you as part of this consortium. You can click and get access to these resources. So then the next component of our hub is our groups. And our groups are, the analogy would be the tables in our wing of our library. It's the workspace. It's where you can collaborate on work. It's where you can, develop materials. And so in here, you would be able to go in, and it's where you can share resources as you're starting to build a course or develop a textbook. You can start sharing resources. You can have discussions, which, because we're brand new, there isn't any yet, but you can start having discussions. And so other group members that are part of this, we have arts and humanities, would be able to see this. So this is where faculty or librarians, instructional designers from different institutions can join a specific group and start working and building out those course materials. So it's a way to collaborate between the different institutions. Okay. And then down here we have, these are general OER collections. So these are collections that are part of the hub. They're very general. They're not specific to our consortium, but they are great resources. So we wanted to hold them here on our hub as well. So that way you don't have to go and try and find them. You can go and click on into these collections and find all of the different resources that are part of Lumen, OpenStax, Pressbooks, and Wikibooks. So these are kind of just some general OER collections that are very reputable, and we wanted to hold them here in our hub. And then down here, we have even more information about getting started. So some different resources and videos that you can get quick access to. So how to create and submit content, search and save content and import. And then also some more OER tools down here as well. So this is a kind of just a quick overview, and this afternoon, you will get a lot more information about the hub and how to utilize the hub as well. So it's going to be 90 minutes. So I really encourage you to be, if you are available, to be here in the afternoon to go over that. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have consortium OER standards. There's two main ones that are per the grant requirements. So they're the major standards that must be followed for any course or any material that's developed using these grant funds. And the first is a Creative Commons license. And so the license must either be CC BY, which is the attribution license, or CC BY NC, which is the attribution and the non-commercial license. Those are the requirements of the grant. If the material or the textbook is developed not using grant funds, we can still share it on the hub if it has a different license. But if it is being developed with our grant funds, those are the two licenses that are the requirements. And then lastly is the accessibility. And so per the grant requirements, we have to follow section 504, and then also the guidelines for accessibility 2.0 level AA. And so these are hyperlinked in the presentation, which we will share so you can get access to all of these links with the resources about accessibility. Okay, we kind of talked about our work groups. So we have 3 work groups. And like I said, they're all doing amazing jobs right now, really building out the foundation of our consortium. And so this is kind of an overview of what they're focusing on. But as we continue building this project, we're shifting, we're changing gears a little bit, based off of how the project is flowing and growing. Okay, this is my contact information, which I'll go on ahead and I can drop that in the chat as well. I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quick. And so I'll put my contact information in the chat. If you have any questions or would like additional clarification or just want to learn more about the grant project, please don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email. And any questions before we move on to our next presenter? Okay, it looks like we did it right on time. It's always a lot of information to share. So we do have our next